Jake, my good friend.
It's been a while.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back. Holiday break is over.
A little bit of a hiatus. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, Thanksgiving turkey took us down for a little longer than expected.
For a, what was that, 2.5 week long food coma, I think it was?
We ate a lot of turkey.
It was a lot of turkey. You don't want to get into the details of
No. That's... We would, but...
We got mashed potatoes.
But we got some hockey to talk about.
We do have some hockey to talk about.
Yeah, we ended, first off, the month of November in a really fun way against the Adirondack Thunder last week. A comeback victory, first time in over 4 years the Blades came back from down 3 and won a game, winning down 3-0 after the first, winning 4-3 in the last minute of regulation. Unfortunately, they couldn't keep it going into December, back-to-back losses against the Thunder. First 5-3 on the first last week, and then a 1-0 overtime loss the next night.
Overtime loss was tough, but and this is something you were talking about. You know, it's obviously every day you want to get the win.
Yeah.
But if you're going to drop points to somebody, it may as well be somebody that's not in the division.
Yeah, giving up the extra point to Adirondack isn't going to hurt the Blades at the end of the season the same way it would if the Blades, like a couple weeks ago when they lost to Jacksonville in overtime, losing that extra point stings because Jacksonville takes that, and right now Jacksonville is 1 point ahead of Florida in the standings, and of course it's very early. We're not even 20 games into the season, but it would be better to be 1 point ahead of Jacksonville right now.
This is true.
Whereas Adirondack, it's like you lost, it certainly doesn't feel good, but them having a point doesn't affect you.
I blame the cold.
Yeah, it was talking with the coaches, staff. It was pretty chilly up there.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't the warmest week here last week in Florida, honestly. It was a little bit cooler.
It wasn't 27 degrees outside, which was the temperature.
It was not below freezing like it was in Adirondack. I don't know. I can't even remember the last time it was below freezing down here in Southwest Florida.
Probably a long time. Has that pond at the on the side of Hertz Arena ever frozen? Get some pond hockey out there, a couple of nets.
That would be a lot of fun. I doubt even if it were to get cold enough to freeze, the ice would be thick enough to skate on. You probably just shoot right through it and then be talking with some of Swampy's cousins.
Yeah, the Gators over there wouldn't not big hockey fans, those Gators.
So not always, no.
Yeah.
Especially hockey played on their house.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. If somebody was skating on my roof, I probably wouldn't like that too much.
Yeah, so in some ways the 1-0 overtime loss was better than the 2 games preceding it, even the win, because the Blades weren't down 3-0 after the first. And I mean, Hart starts consistently, as we've talked about in keys to the game for both home and away games. We've talked about it in the office. It's been talked about in Coach's Corner, during games, all that stuff. Fast starts have been a struggle for Florida this season, getting off the hop the right way. Florida's only led after the first period once this season. You have to go all the way back to October 26th for that game, third game of the year. So it was better, at the very least, that it was a tie game. It was unfortunate that kept going all the way until the very end. It was
tied game after the first 60 minutes of play, and then it only took a matter of seconds into overtime.
21 seconds, before they lost. So it was good to see that. I mean, you lose 1-0, it obviously hurts because you go over 60 minutes without a goal. That never feels good. But the whole road trip as a whole, there's positives from it. A 1-1 run record going 500 isn't too bad. But it's like we talked about a few weeks back now, almost a month back actually. Wow, feels like it was way more recent than that. The Greenville week, 3 games in 3 days, where the Blades went 500 in that series. It's just not. It's not good enough for this team because they expect higher of themselves.
It absolutely, and it's a great thing to in reflection, it's good to say, hey, we got these points out of the series. Like you said, we split it completely evenly, win, loss, OTL. But we're talking about the Florida Everblades here. And it's a back-to-back Kelly Cup championship organization. You want the best out of the squad, night in and night out. And I'm not going to say that anybody on the ice was slacking. I know
Cam Johnson certainly wasn't slacking.
We know that this team gives 110% every day, but you'll take the points that you can get, but you're always looking to get the edge over the team that you're playing.
Yeah, for sure. And also Adirondack is a good team. They have good. Right now, I believe, the second best points percentage in the North Division. They're a strong group. They're going to be, I don't know, necessarily competing for Kelly Cup this year, but they're certainly going to be in the hunt in the North Division to win that crown. So not like the Blades were going up against some bunch of slackers. But in the same vein, you got to beat good teams to get into the Kelly Cup finals. Florida beat 4 of them last year to win it all. And it is possible that if Florida were to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again, that they would have to go back up to Glens Falls.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, when you're looking back on this week at the end of the year, it's not going to be one that really has a whole lot of staying power in the memories of the team, the fan base, things like that, apart from maybe, hey, remember that game that was 1-0 OT loss? Remember how there was not a whole lot happening in that game? But in terms of just the way the team played, I would say it was a pretty nondescript week. One where I said, there's positives, there's negatives. You'll review it in the video. And it's just another week where the Blades are continuing to learn more about their group, what they are good at and what they need to fix so they can go for the three-peat.
Yeah, I think you look back at this week and, you know, this one might not be spurring too much conversation in the locker room, but I think the most important thing that you can take from this series against Adirondack is that first game, the 3-0 after the end of the first period in favor of the Thunder,
and coming all the way back.
Victory. I think that is absolutely the biggest positive they can take away. The fact that they fought back, shut out in the first period, 2 goals in the second, 2 goals in the third, 1 in the final minute of play.
Yeah, to win it all.
I mean, that's a kind of game that you can look back on and say, look, we may not have had the best first period that we wanted. We had a bad hand going into the final 2 periods, and we still found a way to win that game. That's something that Brad Ralph and the rest of that team can be really proud of, and I think that can build a foundation for, you know, other tough games coming up in the future.
You can say it about the Friday game, too. They were down 4-0 in that game in the second period, and they nearly came all the way back. They got into a 1-goal game. Thunder were able to lock things down in the final minutes and keep the Blades from repeating the comeback victory. But it was still a game where you didn't give up on it at all, and you almost came back, and you fought the Thunder to the point where their fans were getting a little bit antsy, a little bit nervous for a second straight night. And that's something you can also get to the new players. The Everblades are always an active team looking for ways to improve their roster. There could be guys coming down from the Charlotte Checkers in the American Hockey League, or trades or signings or whatever. When you bring these guys into the room, it's, okay, we're down 4-0, who cares? We're playing as if we're right in this game, and we're going to make it so that we're right in this game. That's the standard we set for ourselves every night. There's no such thing as mailing it in if you're wearing our sweater.
No doubt, no doubt. And they fought. They got the victory on Wednesday. They nearly came back and got it on Friday, but still 2 phenomenal efforts and a really strong effort on Saturday despite the result.
Yeah, and I mean 3 points out of a possible 6 in a building you haven't been into since 2018 when the Blades beat the Thunder in the Eastern Conference Finals.
You'll take that.
You'll take it, yeah. As we said, it's not what you want. It's not what the team was going in there expecting to do, but it's not a disaster week either. It's just all right, week's over. Let's move to the next one, to a much more important week against South Carolina. But before we can get to the talking about the games next week, Will, we got arguably the most important legacy guest of the Swamp Talk small calendar so far this year.
Who might that be?
Well, Everblades legend, who has his number in the rafters, number 9, Ernie Hartlieb, joins us on Swamp Talk after this. Well, we've had current players on the podcast, but for the first time we have a former player, and probably one of the most legendary players from the Blades history that we could get. Number in the rafters, number 9, Ernie Hartlieb. Ernie, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, so running through a couple of quick numbers, 259 points in 359 games with the Blades in your time here. You're number 9 in the rafters, one of 3 numbers retired all time by the franchise. When you come to this arena to watch a Blades game or whatever else you'd want to do to enjoy your night out, and you look to the rafters and you see that's my name and my number there, immortalized forever, what does that really mean to a player?
It's the ultimate thing that a player could get. I think, the first couple of years coming in, it's still not saying the first couple of years, but coming in and seeing your name and your number in the rafters next to Reggie Berg and Tom Buckley and Craig Brush and Thews and everybody else that's up there. I think it's a really cool thing, but I think it's more cool for my kids when they come into the rink and or they play a game and I'm out coaching, I'm on the bench or on the ice with them for practice, and you look up and you see it up there. It's a great accomplishment, but I think my kids love it more than anything to say, hey, that's my dad up there. So it's pretty cool.
And you had some really productive years and a long career here in Florida. I mean, like long before the retirement, the number retirement. Yeah. What was all those years like, and just the fan base here and the experiences that you had?
Well, I finished my career down here with the Everblades, and I think it was the most fun that I had playing hockey, and I think that's why I did so well. And first and foremost, it was the fans. I mean, everybody wanted to come down to Florida to play for the Everblades because of the fan base and how great they were and how involved they were with the team, and obviously being in Florida, you know the weather and obviously everything else. But Florida always had a good team, and they always had good players. Craig Brush always put together really good hockey teams, and of course I knew Craig when I was little. I used to play hockey with his sons, and so I've known him since I was probably 7 years old. He used to do sleepovers at his house with his sons and whatnot. So we had a relationship before, and then at the end of my career, Craig had always called me to come down and gave me a nice deal, and came down, and the rest is history.
And that's been a big thing that the current players have talked about, is the off the ice stuff the team does to support the players, their lives, their families, all that kind of stuff. How was that back in the day when you were playing, and how does it compare, would you say, to now?
I mean, it's number one is the family, and I mean everybody that's down here. I mean, you look at most of the players that played for the Everblades down here. They're still down here. They met their wives down here. They have all their kids. I mean, we hang out with each other all the time. So, I mean, yes, it was a hockey team, but it's more of it's like a family down here. I mean, even before on my way here, I stopped over at Publix just to get a drink, and I saw Terry Lindgren, the former captain of the Florida Everblades. He's a firefighter now, walking through, and hey Terry, how are you? Whatever. So I mean, all the guys that played here, they love it here. We're treated really well by now Mr. and Mrs. Hoffman that own the hockey team and the Hertz Arena, and Craig Brush and everybody that's been here from day one. Scott Bryant. I mean, you can go through the list, but everybody treats us well. It's like a family. So.
And now that you're kind of in this you're working for Heat, or you've started Heat.
Yeah, my wife started it.
And you've got this whole kind of chapter 2 here in Estero. Looking back on your career, was there a favorite moment or a favorite season or just anything going through the record books?
I mean, you look and there was, games played, and then, I mean, records are meant to be broken, and you see Matthew Waugh and then Johnny McCarron, and you go through and you see all the guys. I mean, I'm a fan now. I come to the games and bring my kids to the games, to every game, and they love going in the locker room. And I mean, but there's so many great moments. I mean, probably one of the better moments for me maybe was scoring the overtime winner in the Kelly Cup final in Trenton. What year was that? 04, 05 maybe? I think it was the lockout year.
Yeah, that was 05.
05. I still remember scoring the goal, but we were on the road in Trenton, and all the Everblade fans, they made their trip up to Trenton to watch, and scored, and celebrating over to the fans was one of the greatest moments, or one of the great moments playing for the Everblades. But there's so many moments, especially here in this building, the teddy bear toss, scoring a teddy bear toss goal, or scoring a playoff goal when the building sold out. And I mean, back in the day, it was every game was packed, Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever. It was crazy, and that's what made it so much fun to play for the Florida Everblades, was because of the fans. I mean, if there was no fans here, it would just be another hockey town spot that people would play hockey, but because the fans, it made it that much sweeter to play here.
And you're a New Jersey guy, right?
No, I'm actually Michigan.
Oh.
I'm from Michigan. I grew up a Red Wing fan. Played college hockey at Miami of Ohio, and then.
No, Will knows that. Will loves college hockey.
Yeah.
Go Red Hawks.
Yeah, Red Hawks. Yeah, we were the Redskins, and then the next year we were the Red Hawks. So they did a name change. That goes back a long. That means I'm getting old. So. But yeah. So.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, and you're repping the merch for it today. Hartlieb Elite Athletic Training, right here at Hertz Arena. We got one of the gyms. I mean, I've never been in. I'm not an elite athlete training for it, but I've seen the inside of it. I've seen the guys working in there. It certainly is a high-class setup. So you mentioned your wife started it.
Yeah.
So how did that all come together, and what's it been like following that evolution after your playing days?
Well, it was actually right at COVID, when COVID hit. My wife was a trainer. She worked at some different gyms, and I, before while I was playing, they had a skating treadmill up there, and I always used to go up there and use the skating treadmill before training camp would start, or just to get back into shape or work on my stride. And so I have 2 boys now, and I figured they were at the perfect age, and it was a perfect opportunity for myself to get in there and have my wife do what she does, and obviously still be involved with the Florida Everblades and the youth hockey here with the junior Everblades and the 2 junior teams and FGCU. So it was a perfect fit. And I mean, obviously during COVID, it was a tough time for everybody, but I say, you know, what the heck, we bought the facility, we cleared it all out, we redid it, and you know, it's been going on over 3 years now, and I know my wife enjoys it, my kids enjoy it. I love being there, and it still makes me feel like I'm a part of the Florida Everblades organization, and seeing all the guys, and it's just a great scenario. We live right around the corner, so it's easy to come and go. So it's great.
It's kind of a classic story of if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And there's never been a day where I'm in Hertz Arena where heat isn't packed with either the youth teams or junior Everblades programs, or even guys on the Everblades. And, you know, like you said, a really good relationship with Florida Gulf Coast and their 2 teams.
Yeah.
So how did developing all those relationships, not just with the teams that, you know, occupy here, but you know, players that want to develop their skills in the area and are trying to push their game to the next level?
Yeah, I think it was people didn't know it was up there, to be honest. I mean, it was there for a while, and you know, they had a gym and whatnot going on, but I don't think the word of mouth didn't get out that much. And then once we took over and we started to build it, and you know, more kids came up, and I think when other teams came into the building and from different organizations, they didn't realize how nice of a setup like the junior Everblades or the Florida Everblades had in the middle there. So they started coming over, and they started telling their friends, and they started telling their friends. So it just kind of grew from there. And you know, it's been fun. It's fun in the summertime. A lot of the NHL guys come down and they skate in the summertime, and they have the gym up there. They can go up and work out and then go on the ice. So we do a lot of kids camps in the summertime. So it's great. And like I said, word of mouth, it spreads, and we just want to have a fun atmosphere up there. And it's kind of like the Florida Everblades. We want to have that family atmosphere, and you know, everybody's allowed to come in the gym, have fun, work hard, and you know, there's a shooting room in there and skating treadmill. So it's a great situation, and my family loves it. My wife loves running it, so it's great.
Who's got the what are some of the weight records up there with squats and bench presses, or is it is it more of a dynamic gym?
It's a dynamic gym, but I still hold the records.
You're not letting go of them too much.
I get up there a lot, and I know not the typical hockey workout, but I think it's a mental thing. When you see the younger kids coming in there and they're pushing a lot of weight around, and I'm maybe pushing my mid-40s, and I'm like, I could still do this.
Yeah,
so I
still pointing to the top of the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Sorry,
that's
honey.
me.
Some kid's getting close to my record.
Yeah,
I gotta go to the gym.
Gotta get it in. So yeah, but it's fun. It's all good, and I think it's great. I mean, not only for all the kids around, but I just get to enjoy it because I get to train my kids. My wife gets to do it too, so it's great.
And I mean, the length of the career that you've had. So obviously, just from not just the work that you've done at Heat, but just from personal experience, you know what works, you know what doesn't, you know how to stay healthy for a long hockey career.
Yeah.
How when you get young guys going in there that maybe have misconceptions about staying healthy, or what they need to work on to improve their game, how important is it for them to have somebody like you to kind of dispel some of those rumors and put them on the right track to have that kind of career?
Oh, 100%. I mean, obviously, I played for so long. I mean, even after I retired, I came back and played at 40 for the Everblades.
Got a goal.
Scored a goal, yeah. But I mean, it was just, obviously, the love of the game is everything, and I think that's in everything, in everybody. If you have the love of the game to play, you're going to do well. But I mean, obviously, obviously, I've learned from other people on how they've taken care of their body, how to eat right, and how to train right, and that's what we try to do up there. It's just try to pass along the message to the next generation and make sure that they're getting everything they can get out of, and to take their career to the next level, or just to have fun and keep themselves healthy. So I think that's the big thing. I enjoy doing it. I know my wife does, and the trainers up there. They love doing it too. So it's great to see, no matter if it's hockey or whatever, you just like to see people be successful. And I think that's what I enjoy about most of being up there is seeing the kids be successful.
Absolutely.
And you do more than just with the physical side of things. I've heard you in the office giving advice to some people whose kids play high-level hockey about where they can go, what's the best path to take to get to the highest levels and enjoy college hockey. So you, as mentioned, as Will just said, have been around a long time in the hockey world, in high-level hockey. You know what it takes to get to pro hockey and all that. So being able to give that advice off the ice to a kid who's saying, I've got these two teams that are interested in me, what's a better path? Or this league, how does it compare to this one? What should I do for this kind of stuff? How rewarding is that for you?
That's the most rewarding, because a lot of parents, they don't know. I mean, they haven't been in hockey. I mean, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of things are, everybody wants to make money on stuff, and hey, I'll be your agent or I'll do this. It's just, I've lived it. I know where to do. I know when people, they say one thing and they mean something different. So I just try, no matter who it is, hey, I'll give you my best advice, and you can run with it or you don't. But I tell everybody, hey, I'm going to tell you, like I'm going to tell my own kids what to do. And I've had parents call me, and I've had them have their kids reach out to talk to me and ask questions. And I think that's the toughest thing as a parent, is you want the best for your kids. And obviously, if they weren't in the game of hockey, they don't know what's the best. So they call me to talk to their kids or talk to them. And I say, hey, listen, this is your decision, but this is how I went and what I think would be the best for you to play at the highest level. And they either take the advice or they don't. Most of the time they do take the advice, and the parents will call me after and say, thank you so much for calling. And I think that's the most rewarding thing out of everything, is that I help them, or we help them somehow, some way. So.
Well, we're seeing more and more every year kids from Florida making it into the pros. Like Blades were just in Adirondack last week, and they have a defenseman who is from Weston, Florida on their team. So you're getting more kids from down south going up.
It's crazy. I mean, you look now, you look for the Michigan Wolverines, you got Gavin Brindley and you got Seamus Casey. The top two guys amongst the Michigan Wolverines played here in Estero, or at Stick and Puck every day. They're obviously their father and my best buddy played with me, played in Miami, but they trained here at Hertz Arena when they were little kids, like my kids were, all the way up, and now they're drafted in the NHL. They're playing on TV. They're going to be playing on the World Juniors. I mean, that's just, I think it's great for everybody down here in Florida to say, hey, listen, we're from Florida, but look at the kids. They're playing in the World Juniors. They're playing in the NHL. So it's a great thing, and I think a lot of people don't realize how good Florida hockey is. I mean, when you think about a lot of guys that finish their career, they come down here and they stay down here, or they retire and they come down here and now they're all coaches. Yeah. So I mean, you're getting really good coaching for your kids from a lot of ex-pro hockey players. So it's great to see, and I don't think Florida gets enough notoriety from that.
And, I mean, this facility is a huge part of that. I mean, you've got 3 world-class rinks right here. You've got an elite training service like we've just been talking about. So this is really the #1 facility in the entire region of Southwest Florida. Right. And then you've seen the success that the Panthers have had on the other side of the peninsula. You've seen what Tampa's done up north. I mean, just the success of the youth hockey down here, what the Everblades have done the past 2 years, winning back-to-back Kelly Cups. Right. Just every scope of hockey is firing on all cylinders, and right here is really the epicenter of it.
This is it. This is the mecca of hockey down here in Florida. I mean, there's nowhere else that you're gonna get what you get down here. I mean, obviously there's some different rinks, but I mean, you're getting a minor pro hockey team, you're getting junior teams, you're getting college players or college teams. FGCU, they're always up there competing for a national championship. I mean, you just have a lot of hockey, and you got a lot of good hockey knowledge people down here, and so it's a great facility. I mean, that's why I live literally for the last 15 years. I live in a span of 5 miles away from the arena, just so I can get to the arena fast and get home. So. I mean, I don't think there's anything better.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one last thing, we'll get your take on this year's Blades team.
Yeah.
I mean, back-to-back champions, but a lot of pieces going out. So there was every time there's new players, there's always going to be that adjustment of getting guys into the system and learning what it takes to be an Everblade, because not everyone can, right? There's a certain standard to it. So when you're looking at this year's squad, there's certainly been some highs, a few lows. What do you think from what you've seen on the ice, this team's potential is?
I mean, for Brad Ralph and Craig Brush to do what they've done the last couple of years, I mean, even look at Brad Ralph's the #1 win coach in the ECHL. I mean, the teams that he puts together are just fantastic. You're going to get the highs, you're going to get the lows every year, and I think you need a little adversity, which I know I talk to them a lot. They don't like it. Nobody likes adversity, but it's finding a way to get through it, and they always find a way the last couple of years to get through it. Even years before, even though they didn't win it, they've just found ways to win. And he's going to do that again this year. I mean, it's just they went and they beat Atlanta the last couple of weeks, and they were what 8-1 or whatever it was, and they swept them at home. So it's all a process. When you're building a hockey team, you're getting guys from all over, and you're getting guys from the affiliates that are coming in or coming out. So I think what Brad Ralph as a coach here is doing is amazing, because it's very difficult to piece a hockey team together in the ECHL. It's easier, obviously, when you're in the American League or in the NHL, obviously, because you know what you're getting. But usually down here, you don't know what you're getting. Guys are getting called up. So
all of a sudden, your best defenseman is gone.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you add injuries into that. And I mean, I think they got great goaltending down here. You got Cam Johnson, who's the face of the franchise. Everybody loves him. He's a character. I call him he's a beauty. But I mean, you got good goaltending, and you build it off from your goaltending. You go D and you go up. I think the Blades will be fine, just like they were. I mean, you look at them last year; they weren't even they were
fourth in the division.
Yeah, were they going to make the playoffs? And then they go on a run and they win the Kelly Cup and they go back to back. So everybody pushes the panic button around here, and it's been like that since day one, and they freak out. But it's not how you start the season; it's how you finish, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and it's also, well, God, we're only 8-6. There's a bunch of teams that would die for 8-6 right now.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So there's a lot of hockey left. But you just got to trust the process and trust and believe what Brad's doing, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to seeing you at Hertz Arena for a whole bunch of it for the rest of the year. Ernie Hartlieb, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Ernie,
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank
appreciate
you.
It. Thank
Swamp Talk continuing on after this.
Thank you so much, Ernie Hartlieb, Everblades legend, for joining us on this edition of Swamp Talk. Not just
fitness legend.
Guys still at the top of the food chain at Heat, according to his story. So, I mean, still getting active, still a huge part of the team, still a huge part of this hockey community here in Southwest Florida.
We didn't ask if he has like cameras in there, and he's just watching like, this guy's getting kind of close to my PR. I gotta go.
This guy's
gotta go pump some iron and get ready.
There's too many plates on that squat rack right now. I gotta get back in there. He's probably there. Probably is. We should go up to Heat one of these days and just see if they have a whiteboard in there and just see what the records are, because there's probably something ludicrous.
No way whiteboard. It's carved in stone in there.
Yeah,
he's confident those records aren't getting changed. He also mentioned he's a big-time Blades fan, still coming to all the games and all that.
Sir.
Well, maybe not all the games, but most of them.
Yeah.
And he's got the opportunity to come to 3 more this week with the South Carolina Stingrays coming to town. Blades back against a South Division opponent. Good old bit of familiarity, Will, facing off against the Stingrays for the first time since the Blades beat South Carolina back in the opening round of last season's playoffs. In the playoffs, obviously, the Blades beat them in 6 games. From the regular season, South Carolina actually won the last 4 meetings between Florida and South Carolina during the regular season. It's going to be interesting to see what we get, because South Carolina, they have been in a South Division that is filled with teams that have been on a bit of a roller coaster this year. They have been the one that week to week plays like a different team, it seems sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it'll be incredibly hot, other times a little cold. So we can't say for certain exactly what kind of Stingrays team we're going to get, but we know that if we get the Stingrays best, it's going to be a very difficult or a very challenging couple of games, and it's going to require the Everblades A game.
Yeah, and South Carolina, they're coming off a monster win. I mean, the Blades, we had our 3-goal comeback where we came from down 3-0 to win 4-3. The Stingrays against the Greenville Swamp Rapids, top team in the South Division. On Saturday, on the road, Greenville was down 5-1 in the second and came back to win 8-5. 7 unanswered goals.
Jeez.
Just absolutely destroying the nights of a bunch of Greenville Swamp Rapids fans who thought they were in for a fun win. And so it's a team that has a lot of talent. South Carolina almost is always good. They're just like the Blades. They're tied with the Blades for the most Kelly Cups all time in ECHL history. They're right there with the Blades in terms of number of playoff series played, number of playoff series won. Pretty much every playoff record you can find. Number 1 and number 2 are some mixture of the Blades and the Stingrays.
And it kind of goes back to what we've talked about in previous episodes about how loaded this division is and just kind of how loaded this whole even geographical area of the country is in terms of hockey talent. But for the Everblades and the Stingrays to have that kind of continued excellence year in and year out, and to fight back in games where people thought they were, knocked down after the first period.
Yeah.
It says a lot about those two franchises, the way they're coached, the way the players, go into each and every game, the way that their owners try to put the best teams on the ice. I think really when you look at it, this is this is probably the two most storied franchises in ECHL history, going up for 3 games, and 3 of the most popular games on the calendar for all the Everblades fans out there.
Including the most popular game.
Number 1.
On the calendar. Saturday night, Saturday, December 9th, Teddy Bear Toss. If you haven't bought your tickets yet, you better get on.
Get some
because they're
tickets.
not going to be there for much longer. 7 o'clock puck drop Saturday night. So much fun. Teddy Bear Toss last year wasn't as fun as it could have been. It was a 5-1 loss against the Orlando Solar Bears, but that's the night of the year where the Blades are going to be coming more than ever, trying to get their guys and their fans a big win. Throw your Bears on the ice once the Blades get their first goal. You know
Get the
deal.
Teddy Bears.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's always, as always, for a great cause.
Yeah, I mean, the Bare Necessities Foundation, the work that they do with pediatric cancer patients is unbelievable. And I talked earlier today with Kathleen Casey, the founder of Bare Necessities, and just the work that she does and her organization does, and just the thought and care that goes into everything that they do. And she said in her own words, they're in the business of delivering joy, and that's exactly what they do. And with the help of our fans and the teddy bears that get thrown on the ice year in and year out, we can just help out and deliver even more joy to some of the pediatric cancer patients in the area. So get out to the game.
Some kids who really need some joy at this time of year.
No doubt. And so if you can get out to the game, bring your teddy bears, throw them out. The number that we hit last year was just over 8,000. I think it was 8,000. I have the number right here. Let me check.
8,684. Nice.
We are looking to smash that record.
But we're the Everblades. We're back-to-back Kelly Cup champions. We expect to smash records. Record over the past few years. We've hit 10K once, right, Will?
Yes, we've had 10,000 teddy bears once. Let's just shoot to beat that one. I'm not looking to beat 8,500. Let's go. We're trying to go 10K teddy bears plus, and I know the Everblades fans can do it.
I absolutely know that. I mean, they've done it before.
They've done it, yeah.
Yeah, we can do it again, and regardless of what happens that night, it's always one of the most fun nights of the season. Obviously,
No
a
doubt.
win would make it a lot more fun, right? You always want that because then the players are having fun. They're smiling on the ice. That gets the crowd going even more. That's always great. But it also serves as just a really great perspective check
No doubt.
for everyone. And a way to support people who need it in a way that's fun. Going to a Blades game is fun on its own, but doing it and also helping out people in need through a great cause, doing a fun activity, that's about as good as it gets.
No doubt. I mean, if you can make a real difference in somebody's life by going to a hockey game, I'd say we'd be fools not to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but make sure if you want to go, you better get on it.
Get your tickets.
They're going pretty fast, Will. There's not many left.
Not many to go around, and I'm sure it's by the time Saturday rolls around, that game will be sold out, and it just will be the unbelievable atmosphere that we know it will be.
And while you're buying tickets for that Saturday game, I mean, you might as well buy some tickets for Wednesday and Friday.
We got 3 games to play.
Yeah, we might as well, right? I don't think they'll want you throwing teddy bears on the ice for those games, but
No.
maybe hats if there was a hat trick. Blades have not had a hat trick so far this season. Would be great to see that
That'd be
this
awesome.
week. I mean, I think Florida's probably going to look to start with 1 goal on Wednesday after getting shut out on Saturday, but South Carolina, Florida is always fun hockey, and Teddy Bear Toss is always a great night. So it's almost a perfect coalescence of quality factors coming together.
Absolutely.
For a great week, and especially amazing Saturday night of Everblades hockey, and I can't wait for it.
Can't wait for it. It should be an unbelievable matchup. 3 games this week against the South Carolina Stingrays, and it'll be an unbelievable couple of games of hockey. Support a great charity, and it just should be a phenomenal start to the home December calendar. We've got 5 straight home games to look forward to. 3 against
Longest
South
homestand
Carolina
of the season.
Should be great. We get to park ourselves up and get pretty comfortable here at Hertz Arena. 3 straight home games against South Carolina this week. We've got 2 against the Orlando Solar Bears next week, and we're just looking forward to some great hockey here at Hertz Arena. He's been Jake Maurice. I've been Will Henschel, and this has been another episode of Swamp Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in.